Hey guys, today I wanted to go over a video about my goals for 2021 that I've set for myself. This list is going to span all of my interests and things that I want to grow on, including overall business, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and my overall wealth as a whole. I just wanted to cover all these and set them out there for myself. That way I know towards the end of the years whether I'm going to achieve everything that I've set out for myself or if I still have some things to work on. I always think that setting goals for yourself is a huge key to success. I know a lot of people are a little bit different on how they view that. For me personally, I like to set my goals really high, or at least moderately high. That way I try to shoot as high as possible, and if I don't miss, at least I'm really close and I'm at least trying to get really far instead of setting my goals really low and achievable. That being said, let's go ahead and get into the main thing, business. What do I hope to do in business this year? One thing that I wanted to do last year that I didn't end up actually completing it all, I want to create a couple stores online for myself, whether those be for drop shipping, certain niche stores that I want to start for myself, or just other things like that. I just want to start at least 2 stores this year. And expanding from that, I definitely want to get into drop shipping a little bit. I know a lot of people say that it's dead, but I have still seen a lot of success from other people doing it. As long as you got a good head on your shoulders and you don't just try to copy what everyone else is doing, try to do your own thing, learn what you can learn in the process, and don't give up too soon. I think there's still a lot of good money to be made in it, so I wanted to try that and see how well I can do with that as well. This year I want to make a total of $100,000 profit. Last year I was definitely a little bit short of this, whereas this year I want to try to keep pushing forward and forward, at least with my reselling side of things, and try to push for as much profit as I can get this year. And I'm going to go for 100,000 and then hopefully scale that up even more the next year after this. And then of course something that's going to help a lot with trying to get a lot more profit this year is definitely going to be diversifying myself and expanding off of what I've done this previous year. A lot of this previous year I was mainly sourcing retail for sports cards, and I kind of got in that niche really heavily. And that being said, this upcoming year I don't really expect to drop sports cards, but I do want to get into a couple other things. I know for a lot of people, for example, like the clothing market, specifically shoes, or even buying wholesale and reselling in bulk, or even buying more liquidation boxes and bulk boxes. A lot of people end up doing those, and they actually get a lot of money from them. So I wanted to make sure that I diversify myself a little bit and I'm not just continuously doing the same thing, because I did do a few other things rather than sports cards, but it was a lot of, like I had mentioned in a few other earlier videos, hot products, whereas I kind of want to expand off that. So regardless of the time or the date that it is, I still have a business going that's not going to heavily rely on hot products or specifically like sports card related stuff, because that is probably around 30 or 40% of my inventory right now, I would say, which I definitely don't want it to be that much. I want to definitely lower that a little bit and scale up on everything else. I do want to start a few different businesses, and I want to go over those in a future video as well. I did buy a 3D camera to do real estate scans. I want to get into that a little bit more this year because I hadn't really done a whole lot, and there was a few other things I was planning as well. I want to buy my first vending machine this year. Eventually I want to expand that to a few machines per city around me, just because I think it's a little bit extra income that's almost guaranteed, and all you have to do is occasionally go over there and check on them and refill them. One of the business goals that I'm most excited for this year, that I've wanted to do for the past few years, this year I want to get a little bit more into clothing. I did have a clothing brand from a couple years ago that me and a partner started, but we hadn't done a whole lot with it, and I didn't really do a whole lot with it last year either. I did want to do a little bit more last year, but we just never really got into it. That being said, I want to make sure this year is the year, and I've devised a few plans to help me along with that, and I definitely want to have you guys follow my journey as far as our clothing brand goes, or brands, because I will expand off in a few different areas, try a few different things. But once we get screen printing down, or if I'm making enough money to go ahead and do the thing that I want to do, I just want to go ahead and buy a direct-to-garment printer, which is basically just a printer that you print directly onto shirts. That way you don't have to deal with a huge area that you have to place things in. It's just kind of a smaller printer that you get to place on a table, and then a heat press, and then you're good to go. I want to buy that and get into our clothing shop a little bit more, just because that's something that me and my partner were interested in. So I want to get that done this year, at least get it started, get it off to a good roll, and make a little bit of money from it as well. And I want to eventually buy that direct-to-garment printer, whether it be this year or a coming year, whenever it be. I just want to have the money to do that and make the money from the clothing business in general that I am capable of doing that. Overall, this is going to be a little bit more difficult one. I do want to save some money this year. This last year I didn't really save anything. I set a goal of $10,000 to save this year. The reason I'm saying that this is difficult, because for a lot of people that's not really difficult. I've been reinvesting almost everything that I've made, just trying to grow a little bit, grow on top of what I've already got. So saving something that I want to at least do a little bit, so I do have it growing in the background as well, rather than just keep reinvesting and never really saving anything. That being said, of course, I do plan on still reinvesting in certain areas that I think are going to be worth it in the long run, but I do want to save some stuff aside as well. That's pretty much it that I've set for myself for business plans this year. Overall, because we are a couple weeks into the year, I definitely need to pick up my slack so far, but I've just been trying to get into the groove of things this year, and I think once that happens, everything will kind of work itself out. All right, next up, Instagram. I'm not really going to talk about any of my specific Instagram accounts, such as Daily Arbitrage, my sport one, gaming one, stuff like that. I don't really want to talk about growth on those as much as I do specifically. I want to grow at least 5 theme accounts to 5,000 followers or more. I've already got 5 or 6 accounts made for certain categories and niches that I think are going to work a little bit better than others. And I want to grow those so I can go ahead and monetize them. Have people pay me to do ads on, and then eventually I want to convert those to my own monetized ad platforms. That way I can post ads whenever I want if I want to try to drop ship something, or if there's specific areas that I think could benefit me for products that I may sell consistently and a lot of for reselling. I want to create those so I have this bigger marketplace that I can post my ads on that I don't really have to pay for. That way it's just free advertising, and advertising is relatively expensive when you get into it, so it'll definitely help out in the long run. Alright, my Twitch goals. I'm not gonna lie, I've been pretty shitty this year with streaming. I did want to stream 3 times a week on Twitch, that way I get out there, grow my platform. That way we can create a community and just hang out together. But thus far this year, outside of doing card breaks, I haven't really streamed a whole lot, and it's something that I want to get back into. I just haven't really put the effort or motivation into doing it thus far, and that's something that I really want to get into this next week. And as soon as I started, I want to do at least 3 weekly streams, and that is not including any card breaks that I do. I want to do it specifically for video games and then do the card breaks as a side thing, because that's more of like a business thing rather than creating a community on Twitch. I actually set a goal for myself last year on this as well, but I kind of did the same thing where I did it for a little bit, stopped, and then I started doing it towards the end of the year, and then things got a little bit more crazy around Christmas time, so I stopped again. But this year I wanted to set a goal for myself to get 500 followers, which again isn't that crazy, but my exponential growth hasn't been insane either. There's days that I won't get any followers, and then other days where I can get up to 4 or 5. So that way I think evening it out, I should get around 500 by the year as long as I consistently do it 3 times a week, hopefully more. Alright, now the goals I'm most excited for. I've been having a great time growing here on YouTube. Just from my last few videos, I have received nothing but positive feedback. Specifically on my bulk video, it's doing very great. Appreciate everybody for watching that. If you haven't already, please check it out. But this is something I find really fun, and I really like to grow and see growth happening on here, and it's been great thus far. So that being said, I want to get at least 1,000 subscribers this year, and as soon as I get 1,000 subscribers, I want to do a giveaway. That way I can repay everybody that's watching my content, and just to thank you guys for getting me there. But I think 1,000 is a pretty good goal to set for myself, considering I'm only at around 27, 28 right now. Growth's been alright, but I think it's definitely something that we can get done this year. I also want to do 3 weekly uploads on here. My schedule that I'm wanting to stick to is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I've been a little choppy at it here recently, but I've been trying to get myself backed up a little bit to where I can have great content all scheduled out. That way it's not just like, oh shit, I didn't record a video, let me go do this real quick to get it done. But what I wanted to do was 1 business video a week at least, maybe 2 eventually, once I get more content figured out and backed up, and then 1 sports card video. Maybe not the next few weeks, but once I get things rolling again, I want to do 1 sports card video a week, and then maybe a gaming one or an extra business one, stuff like that. I just want to have 3 consistent weekly uploads for sure. Then a really vague goal I've set for myself this year, I definitely want to get better at editing. I've worked a little bit on editing this year. I think I'm definitely better than I was a couple years ago, but it is still something that I'm definitely not comfortable with, and I think it takes me a lot longer than it would take a normal person that's done it for a while, but it is something that I want to keep improving on and keep getting better at. That way I create the best content that I can for everyone who watches. I do want to say I've got a lot of good content planned on here for the near future for different series. Again, most of this stuff being the business side of things, but I do have a lot of stuff planned that I think will be really exciting, not only for you guys to watch, but for me to do as well. So I expect this year to be pretty successful. Hopefully you guys want to follow me along on the journey. If you do, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. I would appreciate it very much. And if you want to catch my future videos on how to make money or different ways to make money, or just want to follow me along with some of the stuff I do, maybe learn some stuff that way, feel free to subscribe because I do have a lot of videos coming out here in the near future. Thank you everybody for watching and have a great day. Missing someone.